Hi guys, Daniele here. Today I'm going to tell you how to introduce markers in a bach.roll. Suppose you have a bach.roll and you want to insert markers at some points. What you do is you go with the mouse on the location where you want the marker. You press Shift and Alt. Notice that the cursor turns into a marker cursor. Then you can click and the marker is added. You can repeat this process wherever you need to add markers. You can double click on the marker name and change it to whatever you want. You can move markers by clicking on them and moving them left or right, or via keyboard arrows. Always add Shift to go faster. You can snap markers to the nearest element by keeping Shift pressed while dragging. So if I drag and keep Shift pressed, the Shift key pressed, the marker will snap to the nearest node or tail. Another thing you can do is to add markers via messages. The message that does that is add marker, and it needs to have a position in milliseconds, such as 1 second, and then a marker name, such as Ringo. This will add a marker named Ringo at 1 second. You can delete markers by Command clicking on them on Mac and Control clicking on them on Windows, or you can simply select them and press backspace. A quick way to select markers is to draw a selection rectangle at the top of the object. This will select all markers that are found within it. Marker names need not to be a single symbol. You can have single symbols with spaces, of course, as everywhere in Macs, but you can also have lists of names. This is handy because then you can select elements that have a specific name, even they have multiple names. So like this, I'm adding a marker at 1 second with 3 names, Ringo, Star, and Drums. Notice I had to add a level of parentheses to specify that. Marker properties can also be set via their inspector. In order to open it, you can click on the marker, press Command I on Mac. That's Control I on Windows. And you can see that we have the name appearing here, the onset appearing here, and there's also a role. The role is actually what the marker represents. By default, the role is known, meaning that the marker is simply a tagged point in time. But markers can also bear some information about tempi, temp signatures, bar lines, divisions, or subdivisions. All of this is useful when using markers in combination with Bach quantize. Another thing you can do with markers is adding them on the fly while playing. This is sometimes convenient because if you have to add a lot of markers, doing this in real time while playing, it can be simpler. To do so, you can use always the add marker message, but instead of the marker time point, you can use the cursor symbol. Then you can give whatever name you want. It really doesn't matter. Well, it does matter if you want it to be shown, of course, but if you want to assign a marker role, it's secondary in a sense. And we want to assign a marker role because we want each of the marker that we will insert, we want it to represent, say, a bar line. We add the marker role as third argument of the add marker message. Then we want to trigger this message whenever we press M. So we use the key object. We verify with an integer that the M key triggers at 109 in ASCII code. So we can select 109 and connect it to add marker. Now, I click on the object, I press spacebar in a little bit so that the object starts playing, and then I start using M to add markers on the fly. Let's do that. And so on. If something is not precise, you can always adjust it. Always keep in mind that Shift key snaps to the nearest element. And you can delete all markers by using clear markers, the clear markers message. That's it for today. See you next time.